It
80.
doesn't sound as good, does it, when you hear the original version?
No, it doesn't.
Compared to the big cup for the darts, because I know there's two big darts fans now, you and Lee.
Yeah,
the two Lees.
I know he was ready.
No, I enjoyed it too.
He was watching. I said, "No, are you ready for bed?" No, I'm watching the darts. But anyway, fell asleep a few times. But it was good. But the semi-final the night before, just seeing to there was good. What do you call that older guy? What was Anderson?
Gary.
That was
Anderson. Yeah, 55.
God, he was good. He was good. That was a great match, that there. Now,
how did you find the show, your new schedule? It was very exciting.
My new schedule, yeah. I enjoyed my half an hour in bed. Wasn't that great, starting at 7 o'clock this morning? I actually got up at 5 o'clock this morning to get in here on time.
What time does your show start at?
6:30.
Yeah, exactly. What are you about 7 for?
How come you all got, I'm the only one that's sticking to the original times. You all got benefits of an hour off and stuff.
Well, that's not how it works, and you should know that that's not how it works.
How it works,
I wish it was only just about being on air.
Right. So me and you going golfing now at 11 o'clock when I come out of the gym, yeah.
I'm semi-retired, bro. I am semi-retired.
It's a nice, exciting new schedule. So it's the Greg Hughes Show. So
that's it, right?
But
look forward to calling it now. The 9 till noon show.
Do we have like a champagne bottle to smash it against the windscreen or something like that?
No.
Nothing like that.
Anything like that.
No.
Well, that's it, boy. Same old stuff.
I know it's going. And then you have Daniel, Carol, and Anya, and all the other bits and bobs. It's going to be a very good buzz about the place.
We shall see. It's going to be interesting times. Right. Sinead, then.
How was your road travelling this morning?
Bad. Came through Milford this morning and I was driving on snow and icy. It's not good. And there was a fall of snow there the last couple of hours. I would say, particularly around Letterkenny, it's probably worse now than it was when you went on air because it's proper snow.
Right.
And it's got stuff to lie on. So we'll continue to keep people up to date. You did a great job yourself and Donna Marie and...
Yeah, Shannon.
Shannon did a bit too, didn't she?
Oh, she did a lot.
All right, good luck to you.
See you later.
All right, you're very welcome along to the Greg Hughes Show. We're going to kick that off. It's part of a new season here in Highland Radio. But first, let's get a news update at 9 o'clock. And it's Good Morning, Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Met Éireann is appealing for road users to be cautious this morning after an Arctic blast hit the country overnight. Temperatures were below freezing in many areas, with the forecaster warning of treacherous travelling conditions throughout the day. A status yellow warning for snow will stay in place in Donegal until 11 o'clock, and snow and white ice warnings are also in place for Derry and Tyrone. Met Éireann meteorologist Ailish Hankinson says people need to allow extra time for their journeys.
So it is a very cold morning out there with widespread frost and icy stretches, especially on untreated roads, and it will be very slow to thaw this morning.
Letterkenny has claimed a top 10 spot in IBAL's latest litter survey. The town moved from 13th to 8th and is now cleaner than European norms. The Irish Business Against Litter Group released their findings this morning. 7 out of the 10 sites got top litter grades, including St Eunan's Terrace, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Main Street Upper, while the recycling facility at the Aura Leisure Centre was the only heavily littered site. Spokesperson Conor Horgan says the town's been improving in recent years.
Well, Letterkenny has been a consistent performer in recent years, and 13th in our rankings of 40 towns and cities is an excellent result in itself. But coming into the top 10, it really means that there's no slip-ups across the town. We examine over 10 sites in a town and grade them. And really, if you've got a very bad site, you won't get near the top 10 in our rankings. When I look at the report for Letterkenny, I see grade A's across the board.
Tisla paid more than €30 million for emergency accommodation placements for the first 7 months of 2025. Information released to the Irish Times reveals the unregulated housing racked up €36 million in costs. Jessica Whitlock has the details.
Special Emergency Arrangements, or SEAs, are used by TUSLA to house vulnerable children when other accommodation isn't available. Typically, these are not subject to the usual inspections or oversight. Today, information released under a Freedom of Information request to the Irish Times shows the state body paid out more than €36 million between January and September last year for the use of these SEAs. More than 5 providers were used, including the Care Plus franchise, which earned over €9.1 million for its services.
Looking now to weather, very cold to begin today with frost and icy stretches on untreated surfaces being slow to clear, patches of freezing fog and some lying snow in places too. Dry and sunny for most, with wintry showers becoming more isolated. Highest temperatures today of only 1 to 6 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
VHI Healthcare gives you and your family more. Get access to VHI Paediatric Clinic, urgent care, online doctor, and much more. Search VHI today and get 15% off kids on a range of plans. VHI, because your health means everything. See vhi.ie for range of plans. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to VHI Insurance DAC for health insurance in Ireland.
The talk of the Northwest, the Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed, and a very good morning. It's Monday, the 5th of January, 2026. It's just turned 4 minutes past 9, and you're very welcome along to the Greg Hughes Show. We're on air with you now until 11 o'clock, but we will be fitting in just as much as we did last year. Don't you worry about that. With all the features that you love, we've dumped the ones you hate. And we've slimmed down a little bit, and we're just going to keep you up to date as we always do, don't you know? It'll all become very familiar and very the same very, very soon. And it is an exciting schedule coming up at 11. John Breslin around the Northwest, then David James, and then Danny and Anya for a new show. And then the Power Hour is on between 6 and 7. So I'm sure you'll hear plenty about that over the course of the day. Now, obviously, the roads have worsened somewhat in the last hour or so. So if there's anything in terms of information that you need for us to get out, please get in contact with us. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 07491 25,000. We'll be finding out a little later on what the weather has in store for us. Of course, when is this going to let up? Is there more on the way? And we'll also hopefully be getting a chat with Donegal County Council in the not too distant future. They would be meeting around about now to assess the situation and what their plans are, and hopefully we'll be able to have a chat to them a little later on to keep you fully abreast of what is going on. A lot of closures today, and a lot of people choosing not to travel unless they had to, because even on roads that were gritted, and it's very important to just take into consideration what gritting the roads is. When the council go out and they're the first cars on these dodgy roads, it's a contact treatment, so it hits the road and it treats it. But in certain weather conditions, its effectiveness can last a very short amount of time. So you might say, or you might hear people say, well, the gritters weren't out this morning. Well, they were, potentially. Maybe they weren't because of black ice or freezing rain, I don't know. But it's a contact treatment and it clears the roads. But if you then get a deluge of snow or it's particularly cold, it has a certain limited effect. And that's where the responsibility, I suppose, falls on us just to ensure that we take extra care. Just an update on the ATU in Donegal, because there was some exams on there today and some uncertainty as to whether or not they were going ahead. And of course, people travelling from Letterkenny, but also greater distances to get there. Well, due to icy and snowy conditions, all morning exams scheduled at ATU's Letterkenny campus have been delayed. These exams will now begin at 11 a.m. today. All exams on our other campuses will continue as scheduled. Okay, so just to be aware of that. Just some breaking news for you here this morning, and we understand a Garda investigation is underway into a very serious incident in Ardra which occurred overnight early this morning. There are a few details of this tragic incident at this time, but of course we'll keep you updated on this programme and on our news bulletins with further information just when it is appropriate to do so. But just to let you know, especially if you're in the Ardra area and you would have heard of a significant Garda operation there, we are aware of it. Thank you for letting us know, and we will be releasing details of that when it's appropriate to do so. Just a change for the newspapers. We're still going to have a look at the newspapers, but it's been slimmed down a little bit, and it's our triple take where we look at three of the stories making the headlines in the papers this morning. And just as well, to be honest with you, because there isn't a ton in them. But of course, the big international story is the United States. They are to maintain military quarantine of Venezuela. The United States says it will maintain its military quarantine around Venezuela to exert leverage over the country's leftist Chavista regime following the US raid that captured its leader, Nicolas Maduro, on Saturday. Speaking to CBS News yesterday, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the blockade, along with the threat of further military action, will continue to be in place until we see changes. Now, this is really unbelievable what the United States have done here, whether you believe it's the right thing to do or not. That they have gone into another country and they've taken it over effectively, and they've abducted its leader, and now he's going to stand trial in New York. In fact, he appears before a New York court today, and they say it's about the drugs that are coming into the United States, nothing to do with the oil, of course. But where does that leave us? Is China looking on going now, right, okay, well, let's go in and take Taiwan because we've had our eyes on Taiwan for some time. Why shouldn't we do that? Of course, Russia might say, well, Belarus or Poland or whatever next for us. It sets the world order in flux. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And now Donald Trump is threatening Brazil and Colombia and other countries in that area. And as I say, it's precarious, to say the very least. Are you for or against that move? Plans to build up to 60,000 houses per year until 2030 have been all but dismissed by the Construction Industry Federation over a lack of skilled workers and service sites. Every time I raise the issue of skilled workers in meeting these plans, I'm told there's plenty of workers, but it's the industry themselves that seem to be confirming there is a problem. Conor O'Connell, the Director of Housing, Planning and Development, warned yesterday that all the requirements needed for such a strong target were simply not in place. For the plans, for the first 9 months of last year, roughly 24,500 homes were completed. That equates to 9,000 units for the last 2 quarters. We're looking at completion figures for 2025, 33,000 to 34,000 units. So it's easy to see that can't be ramped up for all the very obvious reasons. But the government continues to tell us that they can achieve that. And lastly, scrolling on your phone makes you less attractive, a study shows. Researchers said phubbing, I don't know why they put these silly names on it, but anyway, phubbing, being glued to your screen in company puts off both partners and friends alike. Is this something that annoys you? If there's anything in those stories in that triple take, let us know. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 074 91 25,000. Right, Councillor Jimmy Brogan's with me now. Good morning, Jimmy. How are you keeping?
Not so bad, Greg. Good morning. Happy New Year to yourself.
And Happy New Year to you, Jimmy. Right, we're focusing on Fintra National School. There's a public meeting coming up to discuss its future. What is the background to this, Jimmy?
Well, listen, Fintra is unfortunately the numbers have gone down drastically over the last number of years. But like Fintra isn't on its own. There's a number of schools in South Donegal that have the numbers have gone down drastically over the last number of years. In fact, Killian National School in Inver's actually closed there this year, And Fintra now they're organising a public meeting next Monday night just for the community to plot a way forward and see can they save the school and keep the. Now there's only a small number of kids in it, but listen, they're hoping that the community there can do something to save the school that's there.
What do you think can be done, and not necessarily exclusively for this school, Jimmy, but as you mentioned, I'm noticing, families that for generations have had children enrolling. Sort of you're seeing the last of certain families leaving schools and there's not necessarily the cousins or the brothers or the sisters to kind of replace them. Is this just not part of the facts of life now in Ireland, that there aren't the children to maintain all of these schools in all of the areas?
Yeah, well, listen, it's part of the whole rural depopulation problem that we have. We've seen, especially in places like Killybegs, we've seen over the years the decimation of the fishing industry over the last 20 odd years. Listen, let's be honest, the housing policy over the last number of years as well meant people are moving to towns rather than living in rural areas, and there's a whole heap of problems, like planning permission for young families, but what it means at the end of the day is that young families aren't living in the communities that they grew up in. You know, they're moving to towns, or they're moving to Dublin, or they're moving to Galway, or unfortunately a lot of them moving to Canada or Australia. And it means when them young people are moving away, unfortunately they're having their children somewhere else as well, like, you know, and they're not moving back to places like Fintra or Inver, or, you know, rural areas like that there, you know, and the rural schools then are paying the price because there isn't the children there then to, you know, to enroll in the school and to keep the schools going, you know. And that's the situation, like, you know. It's been, and it's not just Fintra, it's not just, you know, unfortunately Killian. There's a whole heap of schools that are struggling for numbers right across South Donegal, and I know it's the same in places in North Donegal, because I listen to a lot of councillors, and they've the same problem up in Inishowen and North Donegal as well. But listen, at the minute we need to try to do something to see can Fintra be saved, you know. And
yeah, we've seen other schools having to come up with ideas like bursaries and what have you to try and attract numbers. The only problem is I just feel that at this stage, Jimmy, we're trying to get another year out of some of these schools. I'm not talking specifically to Fintra, because of course, listen, for generations we've gone to Australia and Canada, and often we returned. And if the truth be told, as many people return to Ireland on an annual basis as are emigrating. The statistics show that. But it's the population decline, the fact that people are having less children. We've seen that now. 14,000 less babies born last year compared to 10 years previous to that. That's a lot of children that aren't going to be going to school, and that's something I don't think we can meet our way out of, if that makes sense, Jimmy. I do just wonder if the demographics are changing such that we might be able to keep these schools open for a year, 3, 4, 5 years, but where is the future for them?
Yeah, well, as you say, a lot of people do return, and hopefully a lot of people will return to places like Fintra. But the problem is that a lot of people too are choosing the bigger schools because you know, they have an after-school club or something like that, you know, and like it's important now for parents that there's something there after school to make sure that the kids are looked after, because parents are busy. You know, if you buy a house or build a house now in rural Donegal, the two parents have to work in order to pay for it. Like, you know, it's different to years ago where you could, you know, where usually the mother or somebody stayed, or father stayed at home. Like, you know,
yeah, it's
changed now. Like, you know, whereas both parents have to work to pay for the house. Like, you know, and it just means that you need after school, and then you need a certain amount of children then in order for after school to be viable and stuff like that. You know, so it's a sort of it's a circle, like, you know, once
it's a tricky one.
Things go down to a certain level, and then once there's a smaller number of kids, parents then say, well, there's too few kids in that school, I would prefer them to send them to a bigger school, and then they end up sending them to the town school. And this is not just Killybegs, this is all over the place.
Yeah, you see, and as you describe that,
it puts pressure on the rural schools then. You know?
Exactly, and as you describe that, it kind of enforces my concern that we're heading in a certain direction and we can't come back from that. But we shall see. The meeting to discuss the future of Fintra National School takes place on Monday the 12th of January at 7 p.m. And anyone with any interest in that, of course, encouraged to attend. For now, though, Councillor Jimmy Brogan, thank you very much indeed. Keep us updated with anything that's happening out there, any information that we need to pass on. Kilmacrennan to Mountain Top, passable with care, I am told. This is all dependent, of course, on when that text came in, because there is a lot of snow around Letterkenny. Let me know if there's been that significant snowfall elsewhere. A caller says, did the speed van catch many speeders at Illistrin this morning? Unreal that they're out on a morning like that, 6:30 a.m. Well, you see, they're scheduled to be there, and I suppose the person landing is just going to get to work and sit in the back of that van. The Donegal Women's Centre on the Port Road in Letterkenny will remain closed today. That's due to the weather conditions, as you can imagine. Hi, Seamus here. Could you find out if the roads to Donegal Airport are passable and if the airport is open? I can confirm to you, Seamus, that the airport is open. As it relates to what particular roads you might travel, I can't help you unless you give me more information. Hi, folks. Errigal, very tricky, but passable with caution. Glenveigh, very slippy. Good tyres recommended. Indeed, if you're driving on that white stuff and you slam on your brakes, you don't have any traction. So just keep that in mind when you're driving. And if it were me, if I didn't have to be here today, I probably wouldn't, but obviously there's lots of you out there working in the hospital appointments, carers. We have to be out and about doing our work, don't we? The post people needed to be out too, I'm sure. Greg, someone in the council must be held accountable for this morning's mess. Schools, creches closed and the main roads left very dangerous. Why are we paying a fortune on taxis if we don't get services to match? Again, I'm not here to advocate for the council. They're well resourced for that. But I'm telling you, that treatment that they do at 6:30 or 6:06, it's a contact treatment. It can wash away very quickly. And with the way the snow is falling and the temperature's at zero, it's going to have limited effect. So we have to be careful as motorists ourselves. There was freezing rain over the weekend, and as soon as that touches, it doesn't matter what's been done. As soon as that touches, it freezes over. So there's only so much we can do, if the truth were told, and there's only so much the council can do as well.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. New year, new wheels. Drive into 2026 with a low-rate car loan. Fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or visit today.
Step into Evolve Clothing's winter sale and discover ridiculous deals you won't believe. Whether you call into Letterkenny Retail Park or shop online at evolveclothing.com, you'll find unbeatable discounts on all your favourites. Evolve Clothing.
If I was cyberbullied, you put your arm around me, right?
If the videos on my feed tried to push me to extremes, would you intervene?
What if I was pressured into a dangerous challenge?
Or became bombarded with videos of self-harm?
Disordered eating.
Suicide?
Children and young people can encounter violence, bullying, explicit content and many other dangers online. Harmful content is never acceptable. Report it to the platform where you see it. Visit Commission the Mound at www.cnam.ie for more on how to report.
If your New Year's resolutions are already struggling, consider taking a leaf out of the GAA fans' Book of Unwavering Commitment. Keep your goals 6.5 metres wide. Commit to shouting at the top of your lungs as often as possible. And focus on counting points instead of calories. The new season is just getting going. Don't miss a moment with a GAA season ticket. Available now on gaa.ie/season ticket. Are you in? The GAA, where we all belong.
Ready to upgrade your car? At Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town, we've got a great selection of makes and models to suit every budget. With flexible finance option and trade-ins welcome, upgrading has never been easier. Visit ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to see us at Shane Conley Cars, Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
With TUI, there's more choice than you think. Beach days or a city break. Fly from your local airport. Of course. Number of nights? Take your pick. And with the TUI sale now on, tailor your trip with more options and more choice. TUI. Book online, in store or on the app. Terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Well, the time now is 20 minutes past 9. We can go to Dr. Peter O'Rourke now, former orthopaedic surgeon. Good morning to you, Doctor. Thanks so much for your time.
Morning, Greg. Happy New Year.
Good to have you and Happy New Year. You've been reiterating your concerns, and I've heard them on this programme on a number of occasions. They haven't changed much, and that's in relation to the consequences of sláinte care. What are your concerns in terms of, what this does really for the public health system and maybe, those operating privately in the same?
Well, it does absolutely nothing for the public because it's based on a failure to understand what actually happens in public hospitals. I mean, I was clinical director before I retired, and I actually looked at the figures for private patients in the hospital, and something like 8% of the private patients in the hospital were admitted as planned cases. The other 92% were emergencies. So the potential benefit by eliminating private care from a public hospital is minimal. But what people also forget is that the hospitals generate income from private patients, which now the government are going to have to replace. I mean, in my day, it was between 8 and 12% of the hospital's budget came from private patients, which meant that if the hospital got a budget of 100 million, the government only gave them 88 or 90, and they expected the other 10 to come from private insurers.
And what do you think would be a better way of doing it?
I think, I don't think it matters if private patients are treated in public hospital these days, because there are so many private hospitals. Effectively, when I came to Letterkenny, there was maybe half a dozen private hospitals in the country. There's about 15 or 20 now, and they are massive institutions with massive numbers of staff. Unfortunately, it's staff which were trained in the public sector, but there is no real need in the majority of cases for a private patient to be treated in a public hospital. The majority of private patients who receive treatment in public hospitals do so as emergencies. And they are still going to be treated, but now the insurance companies won't have to pay for them, and that's what they've been advocating for years.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder then what you're paying these big premiums for.
Well, it's to be treated in private hospitals. And funnily enough, the premiums seem to be going up and up and up. Yet, as a result of Sláinte Care, the actual expenditure of the insurance companies will probably drop to a significant degree. But I guarantee you the price of medical insurance will still go up again this year.
It would make you wonder, wouldn't you, how the system works and how it's allowed to work as it does, just in terms of, the value for money and return of services, etc.
Well, it's a twofold problem. I mean, Mary Harney started the NTPF, and she was the one who gave out consultants about operating on or treating private patients in public hospitals. Yet, by the same token, she was giving out to consultants for not billing quick enough to get the money into the public hospitals. I mean, the NTPF is the problem as far as I'm concerned. I mean, effectively, they have poured €2 billion into the private healthcare sector in the last 15 or 16 years. And if that $2 billion had been spent on infrastructure in public hospitals, then there would be no need for patients to be treated in private hospitals by the NTPF. And that's the mistake. Unfortunately, politicians want an instant fix because it's what looks good as a soundbite in the media. And the problem is that with something like healthcare, as we've seen with the Children's Hospital, you don't have a quick fix. It takes years to develop infrastructure. But if you don't develop infrastructure, then you have the same problem, which is ongoing forever.
Okay. And in terms of sort of where people work, I mean, it must be very attractive to work in a private hospital if you're a skilled person like you are, versus the grind of a public hospital. And I obviously, again, come back to your old comments of twiddling your thumbs. It must be becoming increasingly attractive to work privately.
It is, but I mean, as a surgeon, working in the public sector, especially in trauma and things like that, is more challenging and it's more fulfilling. So most people, certainly in my line, orthopedics or in surgery in general, would be more than happy to have a mix of both, because they get the extra challenge and the stimulation of the emergencies and get the satisfaction of being able to treat the planned elective cases. So a mixture of both works very well. A lot of people go into very specific areas of medicine, which means they specialize, which means that they're only doing the one thing. So someone, for instance, who operates on knees or feet or ankles or shoulders, they can get quite specialized. But a mixture of sort of routine stuff and more demanding stuff helps your skill level and also is more satisfying.
Okay. Listen, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Dr. Peter O'Rourke there, retired orthopaedic surgeon. Now, just an update on that breaking news from our draw that we mentioned at the top of the programme, and I said I'd give you more information when it is appropriate to do so, and it is devastating news. Gardaí in Donegal are investigating all of the circumstances surrounding the death of a male at a location near Ardra in the early hours of this morning. At around 3:50 a.m, Gardaí and emergency services were alerted to an assault at a domestic residence outside the town. A male in his 60s was subsequently pronounced deceased at the scene. A male in his 30s was later arrested at a second location and is currently detained under Section 4 of the Criminal Justice Act 1984 at a Garda station in County Donegal. The scene is preserved for examination by the Garda Technical Bureau. The Office of the State Pathologist has also been notified. A senior investigating officer has been appointed to lead the investigation, and an incident room has been established at Ballyshannon Garda Station. A family liaison officer has been assigned to support the family of the deceased. Anyone with any information that might assist in this investigation is asked to contact Ballyshannon Garda Station on 071 9858 530, the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111, or any Garda station. But unfortunately, a man has died following an assault at a domestic residence outside Ardra. The man in his 60s was pronounced dead at the scene. A second man in his 30s has been arrested at a second location and is being detained at the moment. A full investigation has been launched. The state pathologist has also been notified. And that's a very sad story indeed. And we'll bring you more details, just as I say, as it is appropriate to do so. But that is the official line there from An Garda Síochána. I must return to the roads and cancellations as a result of this weather we're having at the moment. There will be no Swilly Sisters Shed meeting tonight in Rathmullen due to the wintry weather. The next meeting is on Monday, the 19th of January. The Coast Road Letterkenny to Annagry is good care around Kilmacrennan. Thanks for the updates, and thank you for the updates as well, and keep us up to date, because there are some that may have put off their journeys, and just to be on the safe side, check with us if you have concerns over the roads. I want to wish you all a happy and safe 26. Welcome back. Good luck with the new programming. I'll never miss your show, a listener. I listen from NJ, formerly from Ballyshannon. Love and light, Anne. Thanks, Anne. Great to have you. And lots of people with various views, of course. That's the whole thing about Highland Radio. We're such a part of people's lives, which is a wonderful thing to be part of. And people have all different views in relation to it. But the majority are looking forward to the new schedule and can understand all that, if you know what I'm saying. Right, okay, we'll be back with more on the 9 till... it's not the 9 till noon show, it's the Greg Hughes Show. Damn it, 29 minutes past 9, and I already made my first mistake.
Watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook or X. Just search Highland Radio.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
It's time to book Paul Claffey's trip to sunny Spain 2026. To celebrate 30 years of amazing holidays, we're heading back to the beautiful Barossa Hotel in Cadiz for one very special week from June 4th to the 11th, 2026. Joining Paul is Mike Denver, with special guests Jerry Guthrie, Dominic Irwin, Brendan Shine, David James, Gina and many more, with flights from Knock, Dublin, Cork, Shannon, Belfast and the UK. The price is from only €1,289 plus tax and charges. For details, call 01 685 2244 or see paulclaffeytours.ie.
T-Shirt Express has moved. You'll now find us beside C&M Embroidery, Lismonaghan, Letterkenny. We're still your go-to spot for custom T-shirts, workwear, gifts and balloons. Just in a fresh new location. You can still reach us on the same number, 086 343 3504. T-Shirt Express, now beside C&M Embroidery, Lismonaghan, Letterkenny.
AI isn't just for tech experts, it's for all. With Skills to Advance, turn curiosity into capability through artificial intelligence microqualifications. Upskill your team to use AI responsibly, to work more productively, innovate safely, and boost your business with confidence. Talk to your local education and training board today or visit skillstoadvance.ie. Skills to Advance, supported by Solus and the Government of Ireland.
I had problems with my knees for about 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the cost.
Public patients in the Republic of Ireland can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
It's final clearance time in the Joseph Ribkov Winter Sale at McElhenny's. Save up to 50% off almost everything while stocks last. Shop the Joseph Ribkov Sale in-store or online at mcelhennys.com today.
086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 9125,000. Right, I'm joined on the programme now by Councillor Patrick McGowan. Thank you very much for joining us. Good morning to you. Happy New Year to you.
And good morning and Happy New Year to you as well, Greg, and all your listeners.
Right, now, you are highlighting... It's a strange old situation, isn't it? It's facilities that are being used but are being used incorrectly. It's the bottle banks in or close to super value, and people are getting the bottles as far as the bottle banks but just dumping them there.
Yeah, look, at everybody would know in the county, the council finds it very, very hard to get locations for bottle banks. They try to promote the community spaces. They don't like to put them sort of in behind and sort of hidden places, because then they just be turned into rubbish dumps. And in fairness, Balbafay and Stonarder, we have Maguire's and Stonarder and SuperValue and Balbafay, but it's come to light there this last while that there's a lot of cardboard boxes and plastic bags and just general rubbish is starting to gather up around it. Now, I know there's a lot of responsibility down here to the county council and the contractors that will empty these bottles, because we all know they're going to be a lot busier around the Christmas time, but we still would be appealing to the public not to leave cardboard boxes and plastic bags behind them, because the place becomes a real eyesore altogether. And in fairness, it's very good of these businesses to allow us to put these public services in their car parks.
Yeah, and do you think this is just because of Christmas and the amount of stuff, bottles and what have you, or does this predate Christmas, Patrick?
Well, look, there's a bit of that. This isn't the first time, and all councillors will probably speak about it as well. Occasionally, there seems to be a breakdown in communication here. But simply what we need is more regular emptying of these bottle banks, and they need to be kept properly maintained. And sometimes the schemes goes on and gives a quick sweep around them and that. But there is an onus on the public as well to value these services. It's very, very good to go there. And I do think most people that go to the bother collecting their own bottles and taking them away, they would see the need not to sort of let a place let all this rubbish sort of accumulate around the bottle banks. It's just a total eyesore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I can see from the image that we have here, and all the bottle banks are full to the neck.
Yeah,
to give people haven't dumped these, up Mina Roy or somewhere. They've left them in boxes at the bottle banks, maybe with the expectation that, we're paying our taxes. These bottle banks should be empty.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is not the first time this has happened. It's not the first area it happened in either. There has been complaints about it. I have already been on to the letter warden, asked them to contact the contractors and come out and get them emptied. And just to keep a particular eye over the busy periods, there's certain times a year that are busier than others, no doubt about it. And the contractors need to try and keep the place a lot more tidier and keep these bottle banks empty. There definitely is an onus on both the council and the contractors to to keep the place a lot tidier, keep the place emptied a lot more regularly. Definitely, no doubt about that.
Do we know the terms of the contract? So that this is a council service, but I presume it's tendered. Is that the way it might be?
Yeah, that's my understanding as well too, throughout the county. So the council, they provide the locations, the bottle banks and that type of thing, and then there's out the contract then for different. Everyone wants to come and collect them, but there is a contract there, so it's something all of our letter wardens need to work together and ensure that the contract's been fulfilled and these places are being kept tidy. I know everybody's busy coming up to Christmas, you have bad weather, but this preceded a lot of the snow and that, so, I don't see an excuse there either.
No, but as I say, there's no excuse for it. I would not do it, but people have gathered up the stuff that can be recycled. They've driven to this facility that's there, and lo and behold, it's unavailable. And there are bottle banks just at the end of the lane here at Highland Radio and elsewhere, and you do see it on a regular occasion. So are we asking people to take them back home with you and wait till it's empty? No one knows when these things are emptied. Or are we saying, look, let's get a more have a number on it, even whereby people can ring and text and say the bottle bank is full and needs servicing. We're going to have to.
Absolutely.
We need to work with the public here. We're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. These are brilliant services. And as I say, I've known towns all over the place with struggled for years and years to get suitable locations that they didn't turn into dumps. And in this case, we had two supermarkets in Balfay and Stonarder come forward and sort of volunteered their premises, you know, like they're getting on for this. So it's why important that we don't be taking advantage. Like we keep the place clean and tidy, continue to provide the service. But on this case, I think the council and the contractor would need to up their game. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, we do have an issue, don't we, with maintaining facilities like bins in public spaces, bottle banks, public toilets. Maintenance seems to be our Achilles heel, Patrick.
Yeah, it's the poor cousin all the time. Look, it's the same, you know, when it comes to roads and other services. Maintenance is the poor cousin big time, you know, no matter what you're doing. Like, you're building town parks, all these walkways. Like, we've talked all year there about all these greenways. Like, we have a new one from Castlefin to Lifford around the county, but there's no final agreement in place about maintenance. Who's the maintenance? You know, you're told to do it out of your existing maintenance, which is not as possible. If you keep providing additional services, then you need additional staff and maintenance. Definitely do.
Yeah, it needs to be budgeted because, you know, from a public perspective, you know, these greenways are fine, and we can talk about how we use property tax to match fund for various projects and all that. But really, the public, what I think they want really is good services. You know, that's not to say that we don't need certain infrastructural developments, because we have to look at the bigger picture and see the benefits of that. But what we really want to see, I think, is let's get the basics right. Let's fund, you know, let's fund these services properly to ensure that they're up to purpose.
Look, we're and thank God every year now we're getting a lot of money into the county to develop different parks and walks and all sorts of new facilities. But that is the big question about who's actually ultimately responsible for maintaining it. If you go out throughout the county there, you do see public toilets. Some are very well maintained, and other ones there, even newer facilities, are very, very poorly maintained. Like, and it just begs the question, you know, was this not thought about before you build something, about who's going to do that? We're building now at the moment. We're about to start construction shortly in Newtown Parks in Balfenstrar, and that's the question we're asking: who's actually going to maintain it? You don't mind volunteers and schemes and that going out, but ultimately it has to be to all these parks and facilities, greenways, bottle banks. There has to be proper staff. You know, it has to stack up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, okay. Listen, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate your time. That's Councillor Patrick McGowan there. And you can see, if you're watching the programme, you can see that it's a familiar sight. I can describe it for you very clearly. There are the bottle banks there. They're at the Super Value in Ballybuffet, and they are full to the neck. You can see that people have made a genuine effort to just get as much stuff into them as you can. But people have arrived there. A lot of festive cheer by the looks of things in and around that area. And they've just left the bottles there because there's no space for them to put them in. So where does the responsibility lie there? Is it with the council to ensure that they're cleaned out more regularly? Is it with the people? Take it home and wait till it's empty? I think it's a little bit of both. I think there should be a telephone number where you can ring up straight away and say, look, this bottle bank is full and needs to be emptied. A caller says, why did they change the clothes banks to wearable clothes only? Now, there are different clothes banks. I'm not sure if it's the same ones that would be cited here. What are wearable clothes only, or are these the charity ones? I'm not really quite sure. If you have any further information on that, please do let me know. Bottle banks. It's a disgrace that people have no respect for the bottle banks by leaving boxes of bottles laying about. Time they paid people to empty them at the weekends. Well, you see, that's it. That's column A, column B. There are two sort of levels of responsibility there. Good news if you follow the iBal survey. It's such a snapshot in time, and the outcome of it can vary. I've always been a bit about the iBal survey. But anyway, Conor Hogan is from iBal, and he's been talking about how Donegal fared in it this year. All right, let's have a listen to him. Wrong fader up.
It's always been an issue with us, and, you know, it's partly due to the fact of irresponsible behaviour from people. There's no doubt about it. If you go along to a bottle bank and it's full, you can't just deposit your bottles in their packaging there and then. You have to wait till it's cleaned. Also, of course, there's a requirement on the operator to replenish those bottle banks and empty them out, manage them properly on a regular basis, especially at peak periods around Christmas. This survey was done prior to Christmas, so it doesn't reflect the festive period. And it just suggests that maybe these need to be managed better. And authorities across the country are doing a better job than they used to, where recycle facilities were often litter blocks.
Yeah, Conor Hogan talking about what you do see. It's not exclusive to that area. What you do see is bottles outside bottle banks. A message for all the parents whose children are out diffing during the Christmas period and back roads all over Donegal. There's no point standing over their coffins when they've killed themselves or 4 or 5 other people, especially innocent people such as nurses going home at night. This is outside chapels, graveyards, etc., and the roads are treacherous. That's from a listener who obviously encountered that and is really quite understandably frustrated by it. Right, now we'll be joined by our next guest on the show after we take a short break.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Take control of your finances with a debt consolidation loan today. Call 074 910 2126. Apply online through our app or in office.
Happy New Year! Or should we say Happy 261? Didn't get the chance to pre-order your new car? No worries, we have 261 stock ready to go. New year, new plans, and the perfect moment for a new car. You deserve it! Visit iMotors in Letterkenny or Malin. iMotors, fearless generation.
Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana, the biggest direct importer of sofas, beds, mattresses and flooring in the Northwest. Best in-stock deals on selected sofas and corner sofas. Best in-stock deals on gas lift beds. Best in-stock on mattresses. Best in-stock deals on laminate flooring, semi-solid flooring and carpets. Full fitting service on carpets and wood flooring. With a free delivery service throughout the Northwest, including all of Northern Ireland. Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana. Always lower prices.
For 30 years, we've shared the world with you. The laughter on a sunlit piazza, the historic stops on a river cruise, the awe of seeing an iconic sight for the very first time.
30 years of memories and many more still to make. Wherever you dream of going next, travel with experience. Travel with trust. With amazing offers available now. Visit traveldepartment.com.
And to everyone who's shared their journey with us, thank you for being part of our story. Travel Department, the world discovered together.
It's the famous Right Price Tiles Wood Flooring and Bathware half-price January sale. Get up to 50% off all tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Huge savings. Tiles from only $4.99, wood flooring from only $9.99 per square yard. And bathroom cabinets and toilets reduced to clear. Right Price Tiles Wood Flooring and Bathware half-price January sale is now on.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Are you ready to save big? The McElhenney's winter sale is here with up to 50% off your favourite designer brands. Shop in store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So very cold to begin with today, with frost and icy stretches on untreated surfaces, slow to clear, patches of freezing fog and some lying snow in places too. We're seeing a lot of that across the northwest. Dry and sunny for most, with wintry showers becoming more isolated. Highest temperatures of only 1 to 6 degrees in light to moderate northwest to west winds. Stay safe out on the roads and the footpaths as well, or if you're leaving your house, you don't want to end up in A&E or the ED with a cracked hip either. But staying with the roads, last year marked the deadliest year on Irish roads in 12 years. 190 lives lost. That compares to 171 people who died on the roads in 2024. And also 3 men, 2 aged in their 30s and 1 in their 80s, died yesterday in road traffic collisions in counties Kerry, Longford and Antrim. That was over the weekend. In fact, Sean Canny is Minister of State for Road Transport and joins us now. Good morning to you. Thank you, with responsibility for road safety. Thank you, Sean, for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome, and delighted to be on your programme.
And it's like you have to remind ourselves, don't we, Sean, that when we talk of 170 road deaths, 171 road deaths last year, these are real people, granddads, grandsons, daughters, aunts, you know, devastating for them and their loss of life, but their families and friends and communities. It's a terrible toll.
Absolutely. And first of all, it's 190 fatalities.
I beg your pardon, sorry.
Yeah.
That's
45 are pedestrians, 14 are cyclists, 30 were motorcyclists, and 3 were e-scooter drivers. So you can see there that the victims are not just people in cars, it's people, pedestrians, it's people on motorbikes, it's cyclists. So I think there's a huge issue here. And first of all, I want to offer my sincere sympathy to every family who lost a loved one. And also we have to remember the people who got seriously injured in these accidents, who are still maybe trying to recover, trying to get back to normality, or may have life-changing injuries. So I think our thoughts are with them at this time of the year. And sadly, we wake up yesterday morning to hear that 2 more deaths in 2026 have happened already. So we have an issue, we have a problem. It's not confined to a particular aspect of the incident. It's right across the board. So I think I'm treating this as something that, and have been since I came into office, as my number one priority. We have reduced the speed limits on the road, on the local roads, which is 80% of the network in this country, from 80 down to 60 kilometres, and that happened last February. Right now, the local authorities are also reducing the speed limits through bylaws in the built-up areas, the urban areas, and then we also have to look at the speed limits in the 100 kilometre down to 80. These speed limit reductions are something, but they're not the panacea that will solve all our issues. We have legislation, we have more legislation on the way. We need to make sure that we actually have the legislation that actually is effective, and people who are breaking the law are that they understand that there are other consequences apart from the risk of killing somebody or killing themselves or killing a family member. That it is important to state that what the consequences are, that if you are drink driving, if you don't have a seatbelt, if you are speeding, that you will be punished. And I think it's important as well that we look at the graduated penalty points. We look at the courts and how they hand down sentences. We have all of that.
So what's going to come online then, Sean? I mean, obviously you've identified a lot of areas that could have an impact, but what we see every day out in the roads around here is people that aren't obeying the speed limits, the people that are taking a risk, scooter users not observing the rules of the road at all in how they're supposed to. People out walking in dark clothes every single morning, every evening, and there's nothing to compel them to wear high vis. I'm not attributing any blame at all, by the way, just to be absolutely clear. But the important stuff, the stuff that perhaps feels like could make a positive impact really, really quickly, what can be done in that regard, or what should be done, or what can you make happen?
Well, I think, first of all, by speaking about it in public, making it a public agenda item. And I think that we have a huge network of organisations in this country here, like the GAA, the soccer, the rugby, and I will be talking to them to see how we can actually make road safety part of their agenda every time they have a meeting, every time they meet, they have a training session, that they just say something about driving home, so that it becomes an agenda item, so that we actually understand that this is not just something we talk about at the end of the year and talk about what happened the previous year. What we have to do is make road safety an agenda item for everybody, be it in schools, in education, national schools, secondary schools, third level education, as well as our education training boards, so that our apprentices are well equipped with the knowledge about the dangers of not actually obeying the rules of the road. Enforcement is an issue. Enforcement and the Gardaí are doing their best with limited numbers, and they are working closely with me to see how best we can improve enforcement. We're putting in more additional static speed limits. We're also putting in additional average speed limits, and we will also bring in legislation, hopefully in the first term of the Dáil, which will help identify vehicles which are on the road and which shouldn't be on the road. And I see as well, when you look at the NCT testing centres, and you see that they come up with a figure that 133,000 cars presented for testing and were deemed not to be roadworthy. There's a sticker put on the windscreen of that car leaving the test centre, and I'm trying to figure out what happens after that if they're not roadworthy? And it's another issue that we need to look at. So there are multiple.
Do you think people should be
play.
able to drive those cars away with that sticker on the windscreen?
I don't think so. It's not roadworthy. So therefore, if it's an expert says this is not roadworthy, it's not fit to be on the road.
You mentioned enforcement. What can be done about it? You know, we had this blitz, according to the Gardaí. I didn't see a checkpoint over Christmas or New Year's. That doesn't mean they're not there, by the way. I'm not naive, don't get me wrong. But also, too, we're seeing, which is kind of contradictory in what I've just said, we're seeing increased detections of drink and drug driving, speeding. You know, there is some enforcement out there, but it's not having the impact it should have. You talked earlier about graduated speed points and fines. We see in other countries, you know, whereby they can be linked to your income and all that type of stuff. I mean, is this not going to take something radical? We can't head into 2026 facing another 190 lives lost. There's only so much we can do, of course, in the short time that we have. But Sean, is it not time that we try something a little bit more radical to try and put an end to this? Because I can't remember what the ratio is, but the factor, it's something like 10 or 12, or it might be a little bit higher, of people maybe with life-changing injuries for every one person that's very sadly loses their lives.
Absolutely. And what I would say to you is that, yes, we need to make changes, and we need to make changes that can be done fast. We also have legislation to bring in. We have to increase our level of enforcement, and that's where the stationary speed cameras and the average speed cameras can help. The more information we can give to the local authorities at the moment, where when an accident happens, we cannot share that information with the local authority for whatever reason. I have to bring in legislation now to sort that out, so that the local authorities can identify black spots, and we carry out works to actually improve the safety and the condition of our roads. We have a maintenance program every year. We need to make sure what actually is happening in terms of where are the accidents happening. Are they on local roads? Is there a pattern, or are they on regional roads, or are they on national roads? And see how actually we can actually use the information we have, do the analysis, and see then what steps we need to take. I also will be beefing up the RSA in terms of their board at board level to make sure that the RSA is fit for purpose.
Why were plans to split the RSA scrapped? What happened there? Because that seemed like a logical thing to do, given
in fairness, you would say, oh yeah, we got a report which said it should be scrapped. Previous government said, yeah, they were going to split it up and all this type of thing. I looked at it in the cold light of day, and I said, if I split this up now, it will take 2 years between 18 months and 2 years of legislation to actually get a new identity up in place. And at the same time, we have a crisis now. So I prefer to actually reform the RSA from within, and to make sure that it is actually fit for purpose going forward, and that we can make that impact that is necessary in order to save lives, so that more people arrive at their destination, arrive safely. And I would say to people right now, you know yourself the condition that the roads are, do not take a chance, drive carefully. Make sure that you understand the conditions under which you're taking your journey. The object of the exercise when you sit into a car is to get to your destination. It's not to get to your destination as quickly as possible. It's not to get to your destination and put other people's lives at risk and your own life at risk.
Okay.
So I think it's important that we refocus on what we're going on a journey for, and it's to reach our destination safely.
All right, listen, thank you for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. That was Minister of State with responsibility for road safety, Sean Canny. Any views in relation to that? 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and the text number, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call at 074 91 25,000. And lots of you have been messaging in this morning. We are trying to keep you updated as well with what the situation is like out on the roads. But what can I tell you, something that is concerning a lot of people out there is quads and the usage of quads. We've had 5, 6, 7 texts, individuals from different places, all pointing out their concerns as it relates to quads. So let me see. One on that before I take a break for the news. Hi, Greg. Reducing these speed limits is just a money-making exercise. The figures related to deaths last year just proves this. the figures keep going up. They're focusing on wrong things. Young ones speeding is just going to continue, and they say drug taking. Okay, back with more on the Greg Hughes Show in the next hour, but we'll take a break now for the news and the obituary notices.
The Greg Hughes Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000. No hidden fees or charges. Is 2026 the year you move into your dream home? Call 074 910127 or email mortgage@letterkennycu.ie.
You didn't deserve what happened. And it doesn't have to define you. You don't have to carry it alone. I know a safe place where you can tell your story. And you'll be believed. Call the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre National Helpline on 1800 77 8888 whenever you're ready to talk. They'll be ready to listen.
Treat yourself to great food and good times at Mulroy Woods Hotel with their new bar food menu, served 7 days. Savour a main course and drink for just $18.95 on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Or Pizza Fridays with any pizza and drink for €15 at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
Expecting a baby? Don't miss the Cool Kids Sligo Winter Baby Sale with up to 50% off selected prams, pushchairs, car seats, nursery furniture and high chairs. Cool Kids Sligo, your premier destination for baby equipment in the Northwest. We accept deposits and offer free nationwide delivery. Shop online at babyaccessories.ie. With 56 post offices across Donegal from Lifford to Letterkenny and an award-winning Irish customer service team, An Post Money is the only current account that's truly local. Start your financial year the right way. Pop in to your local post office or download the An Post Money app today. An Post Money, making better happen. Terms and conditions apply. A monthly maintenance fee applies. An Post is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
Something new is coming to your afternoons on Highland Radio. The Home Stretch with me, Anya Sweeney.
And me, Danny O'Carroll. Great music, plenty of laughs and crack.
We've got challenges, chats and the kind of show you'll want to stick around for.
The Home Stretch, weekday afternoons from 3:30 to 5:30. Come and join us.
Broadcasting throughout the Northwest and across the world online. This is Highland Radio.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Gardaí and Donegal are investigating all of the circumstances surrounding the death of a man at a location near Ardra in the early hours of this morning. A man has been detained in connection with the death. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
At approximately 3:50 a.m, Gardaí and emergency services were alerted to an assault at a domestic residence outside the town. A man in his 60s was subsequently pronounced deceased at the scene. A man in his 30s was later arrested at a second location and is currently detained under Section 4 of the Criminal Justice Act 1984 at a Garda station in Donegal. The scene has been preserved for examination by the Garda Technical Bureau and the Office of the State Pathologist has been notified. A senior investigating officer has been appointed to lead the inquiry and an incident room has been established at Ballyshannon Garda Station. A family liaison officer has been assigned to support the family of the deceased. Anyone with information is asked to contact Ballyshannon Garda Station. Investigations are ongoing.
A new snow and ice warning has been issued for Donegal. An initial yellow warning was to have ceased in an hour's time. The new status yellow warning remains in place until 9 tomorrow morning. Wintry showers of sleet, snow accumulations, sharp frost and ice may occur, leading to difficult travelling conditions. Met-Éireann meteorologist Holly O'Neill says most of the country has been hit by an Arctic blast.
We've also seen widespread low temperatures, with temperatures getting down to -4.5 degrees in some places. So a lot of widespread icy patches. So we're just asking people, of course, to be very careful and mindful when you're seeing these low temperatures and these snow and ice warnings coming out, to be extra aware.
And Gardaí have also issued driving safety advice on account of the weather, including advice to people to clear windows, mirrors, lights and roof, use dipped headlights and slow down, leave extra distance and brake gently to avoid skids. A retired orthopaedic surgeon in Letterkenny says he believes the National Treatment Purchase Fund is a major issue which is hindering rather than helping the public health service in the long term. Speaking on today's Greg Hughes Show, Dr. Peter O'Rourke repeated his reservations about Sláintecare and questioned the narrative that the treatment of private patients in public hospitals is a major issue. He says the focus is on short-term fixes rather than long-term investment, and he believes that is the real problem. Tusla paid more than €30 million for emergency accommodation placements for the first 7 months of 2025. Information released to the Irish Times reveals the unregulated housing racked up €36 million in costs. With more, here's Jessica Woodlock.
Special Emergency Arrangements, or SEAs, are used by Tusla to house vulnerable children when other accommodation isn't available. Typically, these are not subject to the usual inspections or oversight. Today, information released under a Freedom of Information request to the Irish Times shows the state body paid out more than €36 million between January and September last year for the use of these SEAs. More than 5 providers were used, including the Care Plus franchise, which earned over €9.1 million for its services.
Letterkenny has claimed a top 10 spot in IBAL's latest litter survey. The town moved from 13th to 8th and is now deemed to be cleaner than European norms. The Irish Business Against Litter Group released their findings this morning. 7 out of 10 sites in the town got the top litter grade, including St Eunan's Terrace, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Upper Main Street. The recycle facility at Aura Leisure Centre was the only site deemed to be heavily littered. Spokesperson Conor Horgan says Letterkenny has been improving in recent years.
Well, Letterkenny has been a consistent performer in recent years, and 13th in our rankings of 40 towns and cities is an excellent result in itself. But coming into the top 10, it really means that there's no slip-ups across the town. We examine over 10 sites in a town and grade them. And really, if you've got a very bad site, you won't get near the top 10 in our rankings. When I look at the report for Letterkenny, I see grade A's across the board.
And looking at the weather forecast for this Monday, very cold to begin with frost and icy stretches on untreated surfaces, slow to clear in many areas, patches of freezing fog and some lying snow in places, dry and sunny for most through the day, with wintry showers becoming more isolated, top temperatures not reaching above 1 to 6 degrees Celsius in light to moderate northwest to west winds. It'll be cold, dry and clear for most at first tonight, but again wintry showers will become widespread in the north for a time early on. Widespread frost and icy stretches will form early, along with patches of mist and fog. Cloud building from the west overnight, raising temperatures slightly, with outbreaks of rain or sleet hitting Atlantic coastal areas by morning. Lowest overnight temperatures -2 to +3 degrees Celsius. Coldest earlier, with light to moderate westerly winds backing southwesterly by morning. Tomorrow it'll be cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle in the west, moving eastward through the morning and early afternoon, followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. A little warmer tomorrow, 4 to 8 degrees Celsius, mostly moderate southwesterly winds, veering northwesterly in the evening. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all the news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Monday morning, January 5th. The death has occurred of William Gallagher, Cloughan Cloughan, and formerly of Tulliana Brina. William's remains will repose at his late residence today and tomorrow from 4 o'clock until Rosary at 8 p.m. each evening. The house is strictly private at all other times and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass will take place on Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Succour, Glenfin, followed by service of interment in Kilfeek Cemetery, Glenswilly. Funeral Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Timmy Tim O'Toole, Factory Road, Derrybeg, and formerly of Inishturk, County Mayo. His remains will repose at Rorty's Funeral Home, Derrybeg, today and tomorrow from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock, rosaries nightly at 8 p.m. Funeral Mass will take place at 11 a.m. on Wednesday in the Church of Our Sacred Heart, Dunlewy, burial afterwards in Mahragelm Cemetery. The Funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page and on the church webcam via mcn.live. The death has taken place of Bernadette Maria Chambers, late of 8 Conthem Road, Bernie Strabane. Funeral arrangements to follow. The death has occurred of Pat McClune of 14 McMahon Villas, Letterkenny, reposing at his late residence. Housed private at the request of the deceased. Requiem Mass tomorrow at 11 o'clock in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, which can be viewed online at churchservices.tv, followed by private cremation in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if wished, to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Pascal Blake Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Josephine Crumlish, New Wilson, at Key Street, Moville, reposing at the Wilson family home today from 1 o'clock until 9 o'clock. The family home is private on the morning of the funeral. Funeral from there tomorrow at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Pius X Church, Moville, followed by interment in Ballybrack Cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on movilleparish.com. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred of Cahill Doherty, Kennygo, Lower Treban, Carndonna. His remains are reposing at his home. Removal from there tomorrow at 10:30 to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonna, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on carndonnaparish.com. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. The death has taken place of Maura O'Brien, née Griffin, 3 Town Parks, Lifford, and formerly of Castlefin, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving there tomorrow at 11:30 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlog, Lifford at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Castlefin. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Mary Brogan, Finchra Road, Kellybegs. Funeral Mass this morning in St Mary of the Visitation Church, Kellybegs at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed at mcn.live. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or the funeral directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Aldi's delicious pork ribs. Slow cooked, sweet, sticky, so good. And next up, chicken katsu curry, fresh out of the oven, bam! So spicy, delicious and packed with protein. Oh, and with greens on the side. Gotta love a bit of veg. Aldi ready to cook range, prepped by us, cooked by you. Wait, there's more than 50 options to choose from. Well, dinner's sorted. Cup of tea, anyone?
The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio. Text WhatsApp 086 60 25000. Call 074 91 25000 or email comments at highlandradio.com.
We're joined on the programme by Kevin McPartland, CEO of Fuels for Ireland. Kevin, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
No bother, Greg. Morning to you.
Your organisation is calling on the government to review Ireland's fuel taxation framework. This, of course, as we as motorists face more price hikes at the pumps. What is the breakdown? Remind us of where this money goes per litre.
Well, as of January 1st, there were changes to 2 important government schemes, both of which are valuable contributions to how we look at the climate emergency. So the first is changes to renewable transport fuel obligation scheme. That is the amount of advanced synthetic and biofuel that we have to blend into the petrol and diesel that we sell on forecourts. So that changed the increase, they increased the overall level, and they increased the level of particular types of biofuels. And the impact of that is to add about 4 cents per litre to the price of petrol and diesel. And in addition to that, the government also changed the energy efficiency obligation scheme. So if any of your listeners were watching Room to Improve last night or have ever gone through this, they talk about the one-stop shops, the organisations that provide grants for energy efficiency improvements to homes, and they're also operating in industry. We actually pay for the largest one-stop shop in the country, and the obligations under that increased also. That added about 0.5 cent per litre. And then, as you and I have discussed before, the government are really smart with this because they put on all of these charges and then they add VAT on top of the taxes, levies and charges they put on. So all in all, that's having the impact of adding about 5 cents a litre in the last couple of days. And that comes on the back of a number of years where we have been consistently increasing prices as a result of government taxation and regulatory charges. And the government has added about €19 to the price of every tank of fuel that you put into your car in the last 5 years. And we think that's unsustainable.
And to what end either, too, because this is a money-making operation, because the figures from the end of last year, I can't recall them directly, but anyway, I know we're not seeing a downward trend in the amount of vehicles on our roads. Okay, we are seeing a slight increase in those that are electric, right? But still that energy has to be created some way or other. So it's not driving people to electric vehicles or driving people to public transport. It just means that they're able to make more money and sort of look climate conscious while doing so.
I completely agree with you. It's to me, it's a stealth tax. I think the government have reached the conclusion that the Irish motorist and also people who rely on home heating oil are just a well to which they can from which they can just keep on drawing. And I don't think that's true, because right now in Ireland, we pay more tax on diesel than in any other European member state. And you there up in Donegal, Greg, know this better than anybody. If you look across the border, a few miles across from where you're sitting now, you can go and you can fill your tank and it will be 30 cents a litre less in some cases. And that is not just meaning a loss of revenue to the Irish government, but it's also meaning that local communities have already, in some cases, lost their local service station, which you and I have talked about this before. That's not just where you buy petrol and diesel. It might be where people go and collect their pension from the post office within the shop, maybe where they get dry cleaning done. It may just be where they get a sandwich or a plated meal, you know, if they don't fancy cooking on any particular night, or maybe the only shop that's open at 8 o'clock in the evening when you realise you've no sliced pan for the kids' packed lunch the next day. You know, these are not just fuel retailers. They are usually the convenience store in a village or small town that has the longest opening hours. And so communities are being impacted by the threat on those businesses. It's something that the government has been paying, in my opinion, fairly scant regard to up until now. But I really do hope that the Minister for Finance will make his New Year's resolution to have a really good, long, hard look at this.
And it can be done, and in fairness to them, and in fairness to the government, it can be done without it looking like, you know, we're going backwards. You know, we can look at this in a more nuanced way, I think, and it can be framed in a way whereby the motorist can get a tax break, but it doesn't necessarily look like, you know, the government's giving up its commitments to the environment. Because what's happening at the moment demonstrably is not working. That's not an opinion. That is the facts as we know it. And also, to just transition to words you don't hear as much as you did in the past, there aren't alternatives for us here. You know, I mean, obviously, if you want to go from Inishowen to Letterkenny on a certain time, a certain day, you can get a local link bus, right? But if, in terms of attending hospitals, in terms of going to the shops, all that type of stuff, we don't have an alternative. So it's getting harder and harder to run our vehicles that we are completely reliant on.
I agree 100%, Greg. And look, if the government was being judged on making policy that works for Donnybrook, they're doing a cracking job. But if they're being judged on whether what they're doing works in Donegal, they're not. It's just not working. I'm sitting in suburban Dublin right now talking to you, okay? And when I walk out the door, I can be on a Lewis in a couple of minutes. I can be at a bus stop in a couple of minutes. I have a cycle lane that'll take me down to Grafton Street or to O'Connell, whatever. That's fine. I don't know Donegal as well, so forgive me. But I think of my mother in Doneraile in North Cork, where she doesn't have those options. It's much like you talk about, the local link, I think, comes into Doneraile twice a week or whatever it might be. You know, that's no good for her if she wants to go in and get her supermarket shop in Mallow, right? It just doesn't work. So people have a far higher dependence. On average, people in rural Ireland drive twice as many kilometres as people who live in the large urban centres. So we absolutely need to address the climate emergency. Nobody is denying that. EVs are part of it, that's fine, but they don't work for everybody, or at least they don't work for everybody right now. So right now we need to be looking at how we can decarbonise transport and heating. That means using better, cleaner fuels in the existing technologies that we have. So it means more biofuels, advanced fuels, synthetic fuels in home heating oil. It means more in diesel, more in petrol. But then the corollary to that must be that we don't tax those as if they were fossil fuels.
Yeah, but if I were very, very cynical, I would say that what we could be doing now is gathering up the funds to pay the billions in fines that are inevitable, because we'll miss our targets in many different areas, not just motoring, and end up having to pay very significant fines to the EU. And I just hope that the motorists who have no alternative but to get about like they get about aren't being pushed for that money that's inevitably going to be needed.
Well, that would make sense if they were holding on to the money, but they're not. And if you speak to anybody in government, or in fact, even if you speak to anybody in Brussels, there's very little fear of these kind of big fines that people are talking about. They just don't seem to believe that they will ever be applied. And being honest, Greg, I don't know enough to give you an informed comment on that, but I've heard that said many, many times.
Okay, listen, thank you very much indeed for your time. That was Kevin McPartland, CEO of Fuels for Ireland. But there's still also to a great variation in terms of prices, within a stone's throw of each other. And I have to point that out too, because for a long time we talked about, very similar prices in the same area. Now there is competition, and there's 20 cents a litre difference. Now, some of it's so far away, if you're kind of remote, and I think, certainly in certain parts of Donegal further from the border, not all the time, but certainly sometimes when you've got no alternative, the price is set at a certain rate. I think as you get into the bigger areas and closer to the border where there's more competition, the price gets more competitive and varied. So it's an interesting one. Listen, thank you for all your texts coming in relation to the roads and what have you. Hello. A caller says, hello. I think that speed is only taking money out of the ordinary people's pocket who might do a mile or two over the limit. There are people who are getting caught, and then there are people who are doing 100 miles an hour over the speed limit. They don't care about speed vans. It's drugs or drink. Greg heard Minister complaining about unroadworthy cars. Where are the stats for their involvement in collisions? I left my car in for the NCT last month. Engine light came on during the test. They refused to complete the test and failed my car. I had to book a retest. Seems they opened the petrol flap, possibly by mistake, during the test. This turned on the engine light. I only realised the flap was open when I got home. All that for another 40 quid. Another, this speed limit is a joke, full stop. This has nothing to do with safety. It's a money-making racket. It's plain to see these last few days with speed vans sitting along the roads and snow on every road, and these vans sitting inside the 30 miles per hour zone in towns. What does that tell? Well, there was a speed van on Lurgy Break this morning and car stuck. It looked like it was stuck in the traffic. Again, they're scheduled to be there. It's like I'm scheduled to be at work today. I come to work. Even if the power went off and I'd be speaking to myself, I'd still turn up. And I suppose those driving the speed vans, that's what they're doing. They're turning up for work. Young people on quads is a major problem here in Gorta Hawk and going up Baltney. As I text this, 3 quads have gone up the road there in Baltney and they're all in their early teens. It's a major problem. Yeah, lots of you texting in on quads. Another, the RSA have a lot of speed vans on dirt tracks that even the sheep won't walk on. A total waste of taxpayers' money. What's needed is more Gardaí in the roads. Thank you, Niall and Carndonagh.
Get the full picture. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 5th of January. You're playing on the green sheet for the daily prize of €400. The reference number is S6. It's game number 2. The numbers are 42, 9, 3, 45, 4, 8, 36, 27, 85, and finally 21. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Further lines added in McElhenney's biggest ever winter sale. Grab your bargain of the season with up to 50% off fashion, accessories, homeware and much more. Explore the collection online at mcelhenneys.com or visit us in store for this unmissable sale event. Hurry, the McElhenney's winter sale must end soon.
The electorate for Shannon University elections has expanded. Thousands more graduates from higher education institutions across Ireland are now eligible to vote.
If you are an Irish citizen with a degree from an included institution, you can apply to be added to the register. The closing date is the 26th of February.
To find out more, please visit shanadvoter.ie. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Whatever you're working towards, a Volkswagen commercial vehicle is with you all the way. It might be the Crafter or Transporter for carrying tools and the drive that goes with them, the Caddy Cargo or Amarok for when the job and the journey matter equally, or the ID Buzz Cargo to get excited for the future. Then benefit from HP finance from 0% and purchase contributions up to €3,000. Volkswagen commercial vehicles, space for needs and dreams. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans made easy. Apply online or through our app today and get the funds straight into your current account.
Right, Brian Cannon is Director of Roads and Transportation with Donegal County Council. Brian, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, so the teams have met, etc. And what is the lay of the land out there? Nothing really surprising. The weather forecasts were pretty accurate as to what we were to expect overnight and through the morning.
Yeah, it's relatively challenging out there, Greg. Quite a bit of fresh snow in many areas across the county this morning. So whilst our crews have all been out from 5 o'clock this morning, the fresh snow is lying in some routes. We are noticing, however, that traffic flows are generally light, so people are looking out the window and making some decisions based on that. I suppose quite a few school closures and other facilities closed today, which is probably lessening the volume of traffic out there. But challenging conditions out there, Greg, in a number of parts of the county where travelling is difficult.
Were all the roads on the gritting route or the treatment route able to be treated today?
They were. Now, there were some issues in some locations in Letterkenny town. There was an issue with the gritter, but that has been resolved. And then there was also an issue in a section of the road in the N15 in South Donegal. But again, that has been, so all gritted routes have been gritted. And our crews are now continuing to patrol those routes. So where there's fresh snow, they'd be ploughing the fresh snow, or where there's need for additional gritting, they would be doing that also.
And just in fairness to them, I mean, obviously people don't mean any ill intent in it, but, no sign of the council this morning or the gritters haven't been out. I was trying to explain a little earlier on in the programme, that the treatment of a road is that moment in time, and its effectiveness can wane really quite quickly dependent on the road conditions. So a road could be gritted at 5:30 in the morning and to be a very different picture a couple of hours later, or even less dependent on the weather, Brian, in fairness to the people out there risking themselves to get those roads passable.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. And our crews have been out every day since the 23rd of December. So it's been quite a persistent spell of wintry weather, albeit that up until this weekend, Friday or Saturday, it's generally been hard dry frosts generally. This weekend now with the snow coming and the temperatures varying a bit has made it more challenging. So you're absolutely right. Even on a gritted route, you can't assume that it's ice free. And in particular, where you get fresh snow landing on top of a treated route, that will lie there, and it'll actually take some traffic to drive that into the road, drive it into the salt, activate the salt that might be underneath it. So, and then, Greg, that's 1,100 kilometres of the public road. We've 6,500 kilometres of road in Donegal, so that there's another 5,400 kilometres of other roads that aren't getting treated. And those roads will be extremely challenging for people, and we're aware that there are people that need to move around those roads as well, Greg. So look, you're right. It's about people driving to the conditions.
You're privy to obviously the weather forecast, and you could look at it specifically. Road temperatures, which are factored in. We don't really look at that as much as you might in terms of the roads network. What does today and tomorrow look like in terms of what you're expecting? Again, these are forecasts, not set in stone, but what are you expecting?
Met Éireann have issued another yellow warning for snow and ice conditions that's lasting through until tomorrow morning. I would expect that is going to be a feature for a number of days this week, Greg. And again, it doesn't look like it's going to change that quickly. We do get updated direct weather forecasts that we use to make decisions on our road treatment and the timing of those, etc. And we'll be getting those continuously through our various systems.
Yeah, and listen, again, I'm not having to go at my terrain, but even the freezing rain warnings that were issued over the weekend, so they sort of went from 3 o'clock this afternoon to 11 in the morning, and I think then that kind of creates the impression that right from 11 on it's not a problem. But then as that deadline approached, they issued another one saying, and also from 2 o'clock this afternoon till 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you really need to keep up to date, however you choose to do so, preferably here on Highland Radio or on our socials, because this yellow warning, this current one, expires at a certain time. It does not mean that it will not be instantly replaced by another one. So keep checking on that. Some callers asking why the ploughs don't go out and then the snow and then the roads be gritted, just again to give us an understanding of the logistics of that, Brian.
Yeah, Greg, I just missed the question there. So
No, that's no problem. I get that a lot. So say, for instance, the gap, right? Would you send a plough through that and then grit it, or do you grit on top of the snow? Callers are kind of asking, if is it wise to be spreading, the salt and the grit on roads with snow on them?
It's a case, Greg, that our drivers are experienced drivers. If the snowplow can be deployed, they will deploy the snowplow. All of our vehicles have the snowplows attached now at this stage, and we also have helpers in all of the vehicles. So generally, we try and get the excess snow off the road as soon as we can, and then the grit will follow on behind that. That's generally the way we try and do it. However, it really just depends. And as you say yourself, Greg, the gritter could be up the road at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the snow could land on it at 6:30 following that. And to a person that's travelling that road at 7:15 might think this road hasn't been treated, whereas the traffic hasn't activated the grit into the fresh snow.
And finally, a few people asking about the piles of grit and sand that are located in certain places. Is that for public use, or what's the story there? Why are they located where they are?
Yeah, there are piles of grit in a number of areas around the county. Some of them are deposited actually on different braes or the hilly sections of road that are directly just for people to spread. Others are maybe in a car park or different locations, and the public can avail of those to use them on sections of the public road. What we might do, Greg, is get yourselves to share our winter maintenance dashboard again through your social media.
Sure, yeah.
And there's maps on those that show the locations of those public use piles around the county.
Excellent. Okay. Listen, stay safe, everyone out there, particularly those people that are often out on the roads before anyone else. And just to understand the nuances of treating 11,000 kilometres of a road network. 11,000. Now, that would be too much even for your boys and girls. All right, then. Listen, thanks very much, Brian. Brian Cannon, Director of Roads and Transportation with Donegal County Council.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. New year, new wheels. Drive into 2026 with a low-rate car loan. Fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or visit today.
How we use electricity can be smarter, cleaner and greener. At Electric Ireland, we can help guide you there. Our Net Zero Hub has all you need to know about smart meter plans, home EV chargers, solar panels, heat pumps, and much more. Making your usage clearer, your trips greener, your home cozier, and your world brighter. Find our Net Zero Hub at electricireland.ie.
Start 2026 the healthy way with your local Maple store. Healthy choices made easy are right at your fingertips. From fresh salads, wraps to wholesome snack combos and refreshing bottled water. We've got your lunch, snack and dinner sorted. And on these cold mornings, warm up with delicious maple coffee to get your day started right. Eating well has never been simpler or more convenient. Swing by your local Maple store today and make every choice a healthy one.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with a cold, flu or sinusitis? Then ask for Irish Botanica echinacea, a traditional herbal remedy. Irish Botanica echinacea is your natural solution to relieve the symptoms of the common cold, flu and sinusitis. Call into the Natural Way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House, Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €2,200 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House bingo tonight at 8:30.
Michael Murphy Sports has everything you need to help you reach your fitness goals. From training gear to resistance bands, skipping ropes, weights and foam rollers, we have all the essentials to see you through every step of your fitness journey. Shop our range of gym gear, equipment and accessories at michaelmurphysports.ie.
The Friday.
Okay, now on today's Monday Focus, we look at women in football. It's no secret that the landscape of football is shifting. We're seeing more communities than ever get behind the local teams. And at the heart of that growth is the Women's League. It's more than just a competition, of course. It's a bridge between academy dreams and senior reality. A recent launch took place in the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny to announce details of the first Finn Harp senior women's team to take part in the Women's National League. The top division will continue with the established clubs, while the new Development League, essentially the second tier, will be in two sections with a number of new clubs at this level, such as Finn Harps, plus under 23 teams from bigger clubs, the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Shells, etc. The fixtures aren't out yet, but there will be. Starting in March, and Harps women will play their home games at Finn Park. Now, joining me to discuss are Rafo's Coldy Walsh, joint captain for the first ever Finn Harps senior women's team. Congratulations. That's history. Good morning to you, Cody.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for joining us. We also have Paddy McDade, Head of Women's Development at Finn Park. Good morning, Paddy.
Morning, Greg. How are you getting on?
Good. I'll start with you, Paddy, and then I'll talk to our other couple of guests here. This is a significant development, isn't it, in football in Donegal and across the country?
Yeah, it's a huge development, Greg. I suppose, you know, the Premier Division last year, there was only 12 teams throughout the whole of Ireland. So to open up now to another 20 teams, essentially, it's great. Just to maybe explain to the listeners a bit more, in the Development League, the likes of them Premier Division teams will have under 23 teams in this league as well. So, for example, Shamrock Rovers will have an under 23 team where we have a full senior women's team. So that's just the wee difference there. So it just gives girls of the Northwest region an opportunity to play senior football, which is fantastic.
And in terms of access then to the top division, not getting ahead of ourselves, etc., promotion, relegation, that type of stuff, or is there?
Yeah, I see it working the same way maybe as the men's down the line. Now, it might take 2 or 3 years, Greg, to get to that situation. Like I said, there's 12 in the Premier Division at the moment, but that'll probably follow the senior, where maybe 10 in the Premier Division, maybe 10 in the First Division, for example. So that will be our ambition, is to get into the First Division first of all, and then obviously try and get into the Premier Division and down the line. Exactly.
I mentioned Cody Walsh there. Aisling Cole's with us as well, also the joint captain. Aisling, good morning to you.
Good morning.
As a player, I'm doing great, and thanks so much for coming on. As a player, what's the significance of this to you?
I think it's something we've all been waiting for now for a few years. I know myself, I think I've played under 19s for about 5 years now, so it's good to finally get a senior team in place.
And I suppose testing yourself as part of a team against, some of the best around the country. And of course, too, some of the best young players from some of the biggest clubs.
Yeah, that's it. We'll be playing at a very high standard, I'd imagine. The under 19, I think the first year we didn't do as well, but the second and third year we competed with everyone. So hopefully now again, it'll be the same when this goes senior.
Cody, how long have you been playing, and what's your views on this development?
Well, this will be my 4th season with Harps. Yeah, I can't wait. It's a really exciting time. Paddy and the board have been putting in a massive shift the past few years trying to get a senior team. So the older players in Donegal wouldn't have to go elsewhere to play at a high standard. So yeah, it's great.
And that's it. It means that you can sort of see a way to achieve. I mean, everyone obviously has their own goals, right? But if your ambition were to eventually play for the Republic of Ireland, for an example, at senior level, not you, but other players necessarily, but that there's a pathway there. It seems like it potentially could be achievable.
Yeah, definitely. Like you see some of the Donegal players that are on the international level already, and they've moved elsewhere in the country and abroad. So it'd be good as a pathway in Donegal just to get it up and starting.
And what are your ambitions in your footballing career?
First of all, I want to do well with Harps. It'd be great to get a senior team in the first division in the next 1 or 2 years. And just competing in that alone is a great achievement, and hopefully we could win some silverware along the way.
And Aisling, what's your ambitions?
Would probably be the same as Cody, just to do well this season and see how we move to get into the Premiership eventually, hopefully. And yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And Paddy, obviously we can be very parochial and say this is good for the club scene, for Finn Harps, and even the clubs that might feed into Finn Harps too. But I mean, it's these types of innovations can affect down the line, make sure that we don't lose out on the next big star on a national scale as well.
Yeah, 100%, Greg, and that is the whole thing. As you mentioned the pathway earlier in the introduction, the pathway is key, and we can't survive to about the local clubs, bringing in girls under 6, under 8, whatever it is, and giving them something to aim for as well. And that's so important. And the 2 girls there have played for local clubs here in Donegal, the Donegal Women's League. Codex played for my school team. So it's great to see them getting this opportunity now. Both, like Aisling is actually teaching at the moment. She started primary school career. Cody's final year in college now. So these girls are very busy. They're working on the side, so it's great that they're actually getting this opportunity. But you're dead right. Like, we have to have that feeder system coming through as well, and that's where the pathway is key. And we need the support from the Donegal Women's League and Island Women's League, and to give these players something to aim for.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because there are alternatives out there. Your club championship in GEA. Rugby obviously is growing in popularity. Athletics. The more attractive you make football / soccer, the more likely you are to get the best to commit and compete.
100%. Like, as you know, my background is in PE, and we were in our school a few weeks ago, and I encourage all kinds of sport, but it is for these elite players especially. I think they have to have that to aim for. A lot of girls mightn't get that opportunity, but they get to experience different sports then, which is great for them. There comes a stage where the girls have to decide themselves, maybe 16 or 17. Yeah, you know what? I want to pursue down the football career, and Finn Harps will give them that opportunity now. And that wasn't there before, so at least now they have that opportunity, and that is the main point here.
Yeah, and Aisling, playing the home games at Finn Park too, and the new Finn Park when that actually is up and running too. I mean, it's a fantastic ground, as is, because it's historic, of course, but too, when it's developed, it's going to be something else.
Yeah, I think we're all really excited to play in Finn Park. I think we've been using Illister now for the last number of years, and that's some pitch as well, but it'll be good to have or play the games in Finn Park.
Yeah. Cody, what are you going to be going into after college? Aisling's balancing everything here between school and football and what have you. What's your plans?
Well, I'm actually studying in A2 Letterkenny, and I'm studying to become a PE teacher. So hopefully after this year, I'd either do a PGCE in England or go down to Limerick and do my master's.
Limerick sounds closer.
Yeah, it does.
Although
yeah.
is it? I don't know, with all the connections that we have now too. All right, very, very exciting times. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, Cody. It's been lovely seeing you, lovely speaking to you.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, Aisling, did you get a snow day today?
Yeah, we got the day off, thankfully.
Hey, it suits me to get you on the show. Brilliant stuff. Thanks very much indeed. Look after yourself. And Paddy, again, it's nice, isn't it, to be at the start of something. I know there's an awful lot been going on heretofore and under 19s and all that type of stuff, but this feels like a big advancement, doesn't it, in the women's game?
100%. I just feel there's a whole fresh energy around the whole project as well. Des McClinty is our manager. Des actually looks after Fun Park as well, so you can be sure he'll have it looking well for the yeah, he'll have it tip-top shape for the girls. So just thank everyone who's been part of the process, to be honest, over the last number of years, and for yourselves for giving us publicity as well. It's really much appreciated, Greg.
No, and keep us in the loop. It's we like to talk about all different types of stuff, and I love sport myself, so no problem there. Thanks so much, Paddy. Look after yourself. Great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Paddy McDade, Head of Women's Development at Finn Park. And also there we had Aisling Cole and we had Cody Walsh. They're the joint captains of Finn Harps. So that's an exciting situation and is a pathway potentially to Finn Harps women's team having a place in the top tier. That's down the line, right? But unless these paths were put in place, it were never going to happen. Right, okay. Some of your comments here just before a break. Did Donegal County Council use eco-friendly grit which doesn't have chlorine? I don't know, to be honest with you. And in trying to get to work, it's horrible to say, I didn't really care. But anyway. Hi, Greg. Can you tell me if the buses are running from Ballabafay to Derry? Thank you and a Happy New Year to all at Highland. I don't know that information off of my hand, but if someone can let us know, we'll pass it on. Why is the mountain road not gritted from Buncrana to Carndunna, asks a listener. If it's not on the route, you need to get onto your local councillors and get it on the route if you think it needs to be done. Due to the adverse weather conditions, the Donegal Sports Star Awards Committee launch will not go ahead this evening. It has already been rescheduled for this coming Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. at the Mount Errigal Hotel. No grit in Ard O'Donnell Bunker. I would give the council a ring, because... I know Brian and his team, they're not going to leave something empty for the fun of it either. It's not what they necessarily want to do. So give the council a call, and when it's safe to do so, I've no doubt that will be replenished for you.
Your viewpoint, your region, your show. The Greg Hughes Show.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
Didn't get the chance to celebrate before Christmas? Century Complex is offering Christmas party packages up until January the 18th. Choose your ideal package with great food, fun activities and cocktails. Perfect for teens, clubs, families or friends. Groups of 5 or more. Visit centurycinemas.ie or call 07491 21976 for more information.
Imagine sinking into a perfect comfort every night. At Restex Beds, we believe a better sleep means a better life. Choose from our vast range of quality mattresses and find the one that's perfect for you. Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
All progressive, all premium, all yours. For a limited time, experience the new 261 Audi range with exclusive upgrades during Audi All Access at your local dealership. From the all-new Audi Q3 to the unparalleled performance of the all-electric Audi A6 e-tron, every model opens up a new experience. Book a test drive today. Terms and conditions apply. Audi. Vorschwung durch Technik.
We all tend to push things out when it comes to our health. That's why, at Irish Life Health, we make it easy to act today. With 1 month free on our My Plan range for you and your family. So you can take charge of your well-being today. Search Irish Life Health 1 month free. A better life with Irish Life. Irish Life Health Jack is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. 1 month free is equivalent to 8.33% discount over 12 months on new policies, starting January 1st to April 30th, 2026.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Are you ready to save big? The McElhenny's winter sale is here with up to 50% off your favourite designer brands. Shop in store or online at mcelhennys.com.
Okay, so what is the weather like for today? Very cold to begin with. Frost and icy stretches on untreated surfaces, slow to clear, and on treated surfaces, so be careful. I'm just reading this as it came in. Patches of freezing fog and some lying snow. Dry and sunny for most, though, as the day wears on. There will be wintry showers, though they'll become more isolated. Tonight, cold, dry and clear for most at first night, though wintry showers will become more widespread across the region for a time early on. So tomorrow morning could be tricky travelling conditions again. Stay with us here at Highland Radio. We'll keep you bang up to date with what's going on. Rightio, so as I mentioned at the top of the show, quite a bit of flux on the national stage. Nicolas Maduro, he's been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. Donald Trump has described the charges brought against Maduro as responding to his campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the US and its citizens. He was the leader of Venezuela. He's now been shackled and blindfolded and is to be brought before a court in New York a little later on this morning. Lots of international reaction. Iran and China, they've called for Maduro's immediate release. And Donald Trump may not stop there. He's got eyes on Greenland. He says that they need it. They're going to take it. Colombia as well, and other areas in South America. Christy Galligan, what's your views on this, Christy? You know, you've been writing about it. Interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, look, like a lot of people, it came as no surprise that Trump took this action. I mean, this has been going on for weeks. We have over 100 people killed in both suspected, and I use the word underline, suspected of carrying drugs from around that area as well. And unfortunately, we look at Donald Trump as a whole. You know, there's a lot of contradictions and with this man, and we know that his toppling of Maduro is just proof that Trump is not just he's not an isolationist. He's a unilateralist, and he's intense disdain. And he's shown that for multilateral institutions like the United Nations, World Trade Organizations, even NATO to a certain degree. So he has decided, he's a really transactional president, and that's all about transactional, and it's about the oil that is in Venezuela that the US wants to extract and plenty of it, and to make America great again. That's the whole ethos here. If you're a strong military base or a strong military country, he's shown that he can flex his muscles just like Putin has done in Ukraine, and what possibly China will do with Taiwan, and who will stop them?
Well, why would they hold back now? Obviously America is very much backing Taiwan, but if Donald Trump flexes his muscles, he's taking over countries, and listen, he has taken over Venezuela, whether it's phrased as that or not. He has said to its new leader, Delcy Rodriguez, that you'll pay a very big, heavy price, probably bigger than Maduro, if she doesn't do what is right. Okay, so that's effectively, we talked about in the past, not me and you, but it's been talked about generally that, Zelensky was a puppet leader for the EU, etc. I mean, is that what Donald Trump is trying to do in Venezuela? And where next? Because he could go into Colombia next if he wants to. There's nothing to stop him. But what is going to stop the Chinese saying, well, we look weak now, let's go in and take Taiwan like we want to?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's my biggest concern, that international law norms, the UN Charter of Human Rights, the UN Charter itself, all of these things now have been torn up and laid waste to. That, that for many years we've had many wars over the last number of decades, and we've seen it in Iran. We were, should I say, Iraq and Syria and places like that there. And whenever America or other countries seem to go into these countries, it destabilizes them. And then what happens is, like Afghanistan, they'll police them for X number of years, and then all of a sudden, when they extract enough mineral wealth out of them, they leave them. And then those countries are worse off. And we've seen it now in relation to Trump's policies. I mean, some of the things he says is unintelligible, but his kind of bromance with even Vladimir Putin is largely attributed to having a soft spot for him, for authoritarian figures. We all know that he wants to be an authoritarian figure, and that he wants to really, at the end of the day, It's all about that transaction, about making as much wealth for both the Trump dynasty as well as for his rich elite in America, his tech giants and others in America, making as much money as possible for those guys at the top. He doesn't realize right on his own doorstep he has a problem with inflation, a problem with food prices. He increased tariffs. People are losing their jobs. Federal employees, and he's a midterm elections coming up, which could change the whole aspect of the
last thing the American, what I don't understand is
that
the last thing the American people want the US involved in other situations. My concern is greater though. History has shown us that you can have relative peace on this earth for a certain amount of time, and then you have a war, and I think sometimes we think because we're living now in these modern times that we're more civilized than we actually are. If you look through history over the centuries, for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, there does come relative peace, but eventually we find a way to self-destruct. And I just wonder if we're in that cycle at the moment. We seem to think naively that that could never happen again. But I'll tell you one thing, the more that's happening now, the more makes me think, right, are we in this cycle? Are we in this cycle where we're going to hit that self-destruct button again as humans?
Yeah, well, my biggest concern really at the present moment, we look at the European allies, America's European allies. They've kind of turned their back on the European allies under the Trump administration anyway. And he's really become that sort of isolationist type president where everything is focused literally on America and America alone. Doesn't realize that he's 770,000 people who don't have proper shelter or homes in America. So many things happen within his own sphere. But this idea that he can flex the military muscle, do as he will, without referring to Congress to get the okay to take these military actions, that's very concerning.
Yep.
And that's right out of the Putin playbook as well. Putin doesn't defer to his, I'm sure, to his parliament every time he takes actions in Ukraine or anywhere else. And that's the biggest concern for Europe primarily. Even Ireland is a small nation who's fairly defenseless. You might shout at neutrality, but neutrality is no good when you have guys like Trump and Putin and others who flex their military muscle, who they say, I'm going to take Greenland or I'm going to take Colombia, and there's nothing you will do.
If Russia said in the morning that if strategically it's advantageous for Trump to take Greenland, it would be very advantageous for us to take Ireland. Like, what do people think would happen next? Anyway, listen, thanks very much indeed. Christy Galligan there, 086 60 25,000. Any views in relation to that? A caller says, in the interest of fairness, the move was all about the economics of it. Russia was the biggest market and had an eye on taking it. So for once, Trump did right by moving fast. But this is a country of millions and millions of people living their lives, and they've been taken over by another country. It's not chess pieces. Could someone ask Trump to come and take over Ireland ASAP? Be careful what you wish for. Another, Venezuela is a distraction before people get back from holidays and all the post-birth abortions and other murderers he's been implicated in the Epstein files start getting talked about, like the day before the strike, links between Epstein's ring and using the Mar-a-Lago as a recruitment ground were being established. Listen, Trump's completely insulated from the Epstein files. You only have to look at someone like Elon Musk, who come out on his social media and said the quiet bit out loud. He said he's in the files, and now he's back being a cheerleader for Donald Trump again. So I don't think Donald Trump's going to face any issues in relation to that. I have a daughter travelling to Dublin this morning. She's travelling via the mountaintop in Letterkenny to Monaghan. What are the roads like? I don't know. I can't give you I can't give you an exact breakdown of all of those roads. Not that you're looking for it. I wouldn't be going if it were me. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you have to do these things, but it's just not a fantastic morning. Greg, someone text and they're on about the bus from Derry to Ballybofey. It came this morning, but the 8:15 bus that was to be in Ballybofey did not arrive until 9:40. So they are running, but they are running behind. Is there any way that takes Christmas cards like a charity or recycling centre? We get this question like clockwork every year, and I still can't remember where they go, but I do know there are places out there that take them. So if you can let us know, we'll let them know. 08660 25,000. Do we not have snow ploughs in Donegal? Northern Ireland have great gritting systems and snow ploughs. We are 20 years behind Northern Ireland. Does that road from Derry to Belfast, is that not closed as soon as there's any sprinkling of snow? But anyway, maybe you're right. We do, of course, have snow ploughs, but there's a lot of roads, and everyone wants their road done. And if they're not on the route, they're not on the route. My daughter had a bad collision on a road yesterday because it was not gritted. Why was this road not gritted? 2 cars were written off. I'm not sure. I couldn't mention the road because it could well have been gritted, and I couldn't state that it hasn't been. But I have not ignored your comment, and we will chase that up. All right, that's where we have to leave it on the show today. Thank you very much indeed for all of your texts and your comments and your calls, and thanks